is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player 1. Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories: Bible belts, biology, Thomas Paine said, movie adjectives, unofficial state nicknames, and death. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 1, you make the next selection as we continue. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says that if someone smiteth you here, offer also the other. Okay, Player 1. That is correct. We return to you, Player 1. 2011, The Blank Lady. Here's the correct response. Iron. Player 1, you pick again, please. Seward's Icebox. Player 1? Yeah. You are correct. Player 1, you pick again, please. The Switzerland of America and the highest state. Player 2.
Yeah!
That's correct. Where do we begin, Player 2? The crisis number 1 begins. These are the times that try men's these. Player 1? Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? It's Player 2. No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Let's hear it, Player 3. Good. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, Player 3. Make us. The fate of Charles I hath only made these individuals more subtle, not more just. The correct response is kings. You get to pick again, Player 3. No man was a warmer wisher for reconciliation than myself, before the fatal 19th of this month, 1775. Yes, Player 3? No. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's what we wanted. April. Player 3, pick again. In The Rights of Man in 1791, Paine wrote, "The cause of the rebellion in this country is that of the whole world." Okay, Player 2. Right. Player 2, start us. This basic document is the property of a nation, and not of those who exercise the government. It's player 3. Yes, great, you're back into it now. Player 3, start us. 1989, The Blank Baker Boys. Player 1. Correct. Player 1, start us. 2000, The Blank Storm. Okay, player 3. That's correct. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player 3. Make us 1969, The Blank Bunch. It's player 2.
Oh.
Any other takers? The correct response is wild. You again, player 3. 2005, The Blank Gardener. Player 2. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's what we were looking for. Constant. Please pick again, player 3. Neurospora crassa is this type of fungus. It grows on bread, but in the wild is found on burned vegetation. Player 1? Hey, you're right. Player 1, where do we start? The birthplace of 8 presidents. Here's what we wanted. Virginia. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. And I'll hand it off to Sarah.
Though it's called the Star-Spangled Banner State, this is its flag.
We're talking about Maryland. Select again. The coal state and the birth state of the nation. It's player 3. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Yes, player 1? Yes! You again, player 1. After striking down his brother in Genesis, this man said, "My punishment is greater than I can bear." Let's hear it, player 1. That's correct. Please pick again, player 1. In Numbers chapter 20, after the Israelites complained, Moses smote one of these twice, and water came out. Okay, player 3. Anyone else? Let's hear it, player 1. Correct. Player 1, you pick again, please. In a book named for Moses' successor, this man smites the Gibeonites, the Hebronites, and the Eglonites. Let's hear it, player 3. correct. You've got some money again. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 3, you make the next selection as we... In Judges, Samson whopped on 1,000 Philistines with this part of an ass. Okay, player 2. You got it on the plus side again. All right, let's get back into this. Player 2 has control. Bubonic plague's more descriptive name. Player 1? Yeah! That's correct. Where do we begin, Player 1? The 7 words that complete the speech Patrick Henry gave on March 23, 1775. Yes, Player 1? Yeah. Yes. Please pick again, Player 1. HBO comedy starring Jason Schwartzman and Zach Galifianakis. Here's what we were looking for. Bored to death. Please pick again, Player 1. Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur's rap music record label. Yes, Player 1? Good. Player 1. Pick again. It's the title of a famous 1793 painting by Jacques-Louis David. We're talking about the death of Marat. Player 1, back to you for our next. Stomata. Leaf pores that take in this gas enlarge when its level in the air drops below normal. Okay, Player 1. Yeah! Yep. Player 1. To help make sure your brain stays fueled, give its cells less of this hormone for glucose uptake. Yes, Player 3? That's correct. Player 3, where do we start? Linus Pauling found the structure of keratin, the main component of nails and this human body part. Yes, Player 1? Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Yes, Player 2. Right. Here's the $1,000 clue for you. Answer. It's the Daily Double. Here's a chance to break the tie. How much are you going to wager, Player 2? All right, here's your clue. About 25 species of this arachnid, most in the family Buthidae, have venom that'll kill you. 1,200 others sting like a bee. Right. Player 3, you're going first in Double Jeopardy, and we'll start that round right after this break. We start the Double Jeopardy categories with this one. It's not ancient history. Very, very good. Philosophy. Giving you the bird. The comics. And literary country settings. Player 3, you're in last place, which means you get to select first in Double. Also known as a red bird and protected by law, this bird may have up to 4 broods from April to August each year. Let's hear it, Player 3. Right. Player 3, pick again. The ruby-throated one of these can migrate 500 miles while burning off only slightly more than 1 gram of fat. Let's hear it, player 2. Is correct. Player 2, you're in command of the board as we continue, right? Pochards, perching, stiff-tailed, and dabbling are types of these birds. Player 2. Oh, sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Here's what we were looking for. Ducks. Player 2, back to you for our next selection. There are about 60 species of this wading bird. Asia has a purple one, and America, a great blue one. Let's hear it, player 2. Good. Player 2, pick again. The gray type of this bird was introduced to North America in 1889. Come on, get happy. Yes, player 1? Yeah! You are correct. Player 1, where do we start? This Peanuts character got a sister named Sally in 1959. Let's hear it, player 1. Right. You again, player 1. Weirdo would be another name for this Dan Ferraro comic that began as a replacement for The Far Side. Here's the correct response. Bizarro. Player 1, back to you for our next. Mr. Munster wasn't the subject of this 1975 to 1992 Jim Unger strip. Here's what we were looking for. Herman. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Answer, the first of the daily doubles, and you have the lead. What are you going to wait? Here is your daily double clue. In Bob Thave's comic, Frank bums around with this guy. Even so, you are still in the... Here's what we were looking for. Ernest. We return to you, player 1. This edgy Aaron Magruder comic strip debuted in 1996. Here's what we were looking for. The Boondocks. Player 1, choose again. Cartesian refers to the ideas of this man, the father of modern philosophy. Okay, player 2. Correct. Player 2, you're in command of the board as we continue, right? Dawes Butler voiced this animated TV hound. It's player 1. Yes. Player 1, you start us off. On January 12, 2010, a magnitude 7 earthquake struck the capital of this island nation. It's player 2. Right. Player 2, you start. The first Greek philosophers tried to understand the universe, practicing this ology, from the Greek for order. The correct response is cosmology. Please pick again, player 2. The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, 1927. Okay, player 2. Any other takers? It's player 1. No. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Yes, player 3? Yep. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 3, you make the next selection as we... Steppenwolf, 1929. Let's hear it, player 2. Good for you. Player 2, you start. Answer. The second daily double. You're in second now, but with an opportunity to catch up a bit. Player 2, here is your daily double clue. Walkabout, 1959. You've moved up to first place. Player 2, back to you for our next selection. These Are Forever in a top 10 hit from 1967. Yes, player 1? Oh, sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's the response we were looking for. Strawberry Fields. Select again. The Jewel in the Crown, 1966. Player 3? Player 3, make a selection, please, as we continue. The Stranger, 1942. Here's what we wanted. Algeria. You again, player 3. Fideists say that the source of religious belief is not reason, but this. Here's what we were looking for. Faith. Player 3, you pick again, please. This German philosopher's idea of the Übermensch included people like Frederick the Great. Okay, player 3. No, that's not right. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? We're talking about Friedrich Nietzsche. You get to pick again, player 3. Pro boxers have been battling under this Marcus's rules since the late 1800s. Yes, player 1? That is correct. Player 1, start us. Tidal Avenue in Theodore Geisel's first book. The correct response is Mulberry Street. We return to you, player 1. Inept policeman in Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Here's the correct response. Dogberry. Player 1, pick again. The opposite of determinism is this two-word phrase used in an 1889 Henri Bergson book title? We're talking about free will. Player 1, back to you for our next select. In February 2010, the Winter Olympics began in this host country. It's player 3. No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Okay, player 2. Yes. Player 2, where do we start? Dozens of journalists were killed in a November 2009 massacre in this country's Maguindanao province. It's player 3. That's correct. Player 3, you're in command of the board as we continue, right? Protests accompanied the December 2009 UN Climate Change Conference in this European capital. Here's what we wanted. Copenhagen. And now the $2,000 clue. In August of 2009, this nation pardoned 2 American journalists who had been arrested for illegal entry. We're talking about North Korea. Congratulations to all of you. You'll be continuing on to Final Jeopardy when we come back. Time to get ready for Final Jeopardy. And today the category is this: Midwest topography. What are you going to wager? And now the last clue. This state has the largest sand dunes complex in the United States, just north of a river named for its flatness. What did you put as your response? And that correct response will add... Let's see your response. And that will lose you... What did you say? How much do you add to your total with that correct response? This makes you our new champion, player 2. So congratulations. So long.